Ash here, and we're still in Hawaii today. However, this time we're going to do something a little bit different. Hawaii has a whole bunch of different plantations, and this one in particular is Kohana Hawaii Agricole Rum. So what we're going to do is actually have a wine tasting journey, tour the entire facility, and see how they make Hawaiian rum. On top of that, we're going to have some fun by actually drinking it too. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump in there. Now, of course, you have to ease into the drinking, so the first thing in this tour was to learn about how rum is made.
Alrighty, my friends, how are we all doing today?
Great.
Good. Well, welcome into Kohana. My name is Savannah. Ko meaning sugarcane, Hana meaning to work. So together, it's just the work of the sugarcane. The way we're working the sugarcane is we are an agricole style rum. So agricole rum makes up less than 2% of the entire rum industry. And the difference is that we're using fresh sugarcane juice as the base ingredient for our rum. So our rum tends to be a little bit more grassy, a little bit more natural tasting than most people are expecting. We still think it's delicious. We are currently in the process of expanding from 300 to 1,000 acres of land. So we have 45 acres here in Kunia, right past the tree line back there. And then the rest of our land is up in the North Shore in Haleiwa and Wailua. Our first sugarcane was planted back in 2011, and then our taste room opened up here back in 2014. But with this 1,000 acres of land, our farmers are still hand harvesting all of our sugarcane. So they'll cut it as close to the bottom as they can with a machete. And then they have another machine that's out there in the field to juice the cane immediately. So it doesn't have time to dry out. We're getting as much juice as we can. And then sugar does oxidize fast. So our farmers are actually pitching the yeast in the tanks out in the field to start that fermentation process immediately. Our farmers will typically cut our canes down around 10 to 12 months. After that, they're classified as fully grown. After they cut the canes down, it just keeps growing right back up. We're gonna allow that to happen around 3 more times. And then we just noticed that the sugar content in the cane isn't quite where we need it to be. This is sugar cane, just in case we can't get close enough over there for you to really see it. It's in the same grass family like bamboo. So a lot of people just said it looks like bamboo, which it does. But with those 500 gallons of cane juice, our farmers bring it to us in this massive sphere that they bring on their trailer. And then they come drive up right here and they pump it into these fermentation tanks. We ferment to dry, which means we ferment till the yeast has eaten all the sugar that there is. This typically is gonna take us around 3 days. After that, we're left with what's called cane wine. Cane wine is roughly 10% alcohol by volume. We are going for the stronger stuff, so we keep our party moving. Cane wine then gets pumped into our pot still. New one is the big old tank that's over to the left. Old one is the smaller version that's over to the right. So we do have a hybrid still system, both a pot and a column. The column still works by having a copper plate in between each of the windows. Every time the vapors hit a copper plate, it gets purified a little bit more. The windows you open, the higher the proof is. So our distillers typically will stick around 3 to 5 windows. After that, the vapors rise up and they come down the condenser, which is the third column in the center. The condenser just works by having cool liquids flowing next to those vapors, turn the vapors back into a liquid state. It'll then come off the silver spout at the end that's called the parrot. It takes roughly 10 hours for them to collect everything. However, throughout those 10 hours, our 2 distillers are going to manually cut that into 3 different sections by moving 3 different drums underneath it. The first part that comes off is called the heads. The heads is high in ethanol, which is the stuff that gets us buzzed. But it's not the top shelf quality. We're really proud of here at Kohana, so we're just going to set it to the side. Fun fact though, the first gallon or so is called 4 shots, which is slightly higher in methanol, so you don't want to drink it. But we don't like to waste, so we actually fill up spray bottles with it, and that's what we're using as our cleaner on the inside. So if you see us spraying any of our counters and it smells really good, still don't recommend you start looking on our counters.
God damn it, same shit, different stuff.
Second main part that comes off the stills is going to be called the hearts. This is the stuff we're proud of. This is stuff we're going to bottle up and drink. And then the third and final part is called the tails. It's lower in ethanol, it's a bit more oily, it smells a little bit like a wet dog, so you don't want to drink it. So again, starting with 500 gallons of cane juice, we are then left with only 50 gallons of rum at the end. With those 50 gallons of rum, we have a few different options. Option 1 is going to be our white rum series. It's For our white rums, after they're all distilled, we rest them in one of the stainless steel tanks along the back wall for around 90 days, just to let those molecules simmer and let that flavor really brew. Option 2 is going to be all of our aged rums, which we're about to head into the barrel warehouse. We'll talk about all of those. And then option 3 is our kokalaka. Kokalaka in Hawaiian means chocolate. This is our after dinner dessert rum. Questions about any of that?
I do actually.
Yeah.
It looks like you guys use every little bit of it to actually make something new. Is there any part that you can't use?
It does get to some point where that little middle section is just not great and that just gets dumped. But pretty much everything else we do try to reuse. Any of the water that gets separated out in our pot still actually gets pumped out back into our fields. Of course, we're using the 4-shot, so we'll try to get as much of it out of it as we can, but there does come to a little point that there is a little release.
Yeah, it seems like you use everything though.
That's the goal. We try our best to do it. First barrels I'm going to talk about are the ones behind me that say Kō Hana on them. This one's going to be our Kō series. This is the aged rum in both the classic and the aged whites today. We typically use our barrels 2 to 3 times for rum because of what's called the devil's cut. The devil's cut is the opposite of the angel share. It's what gets left behind. So the wood has pores and actually soaks up some of that spirit. That's the devil's cut. So after those 2 or 3 uses, we do notice the flavoring tends to get a little bit more neutral. So we're going to retire that barrel, which are part of our Koa series. Koa wood is endemic to Hawaii. It's mostly grown over on the Big Island due to the higher altitude. It is a very pricey wood, a sign of royalty. The fun part is we are the only distillery in the world that is aging with Koa wood. Personally, I think it's because one's crazy enough to spend that kind of money on a barrel. But it is worth it. Our rum will take on this beautiful red coloring to it. Definitely more unique flavor profile. This is our cask strength bottle, meaning it's the same proof in the bottle that it was in the barrel. Our current Kila is 60.4% alcohol by volume, so she does have a little bit of a kick to her. So what we're doing with our Kila series is we're utilizing the devil's cuts of other spirits. So we get ex-bourbons, whiskeys, Pinot Noir, sherry, and tequila barrels. And then after those barrels have been retired from that previous spirit, we then age our rum in it to pull out some of that previous flavoring. So if you see some company names you might recognize, we are indeed using their old barrels to age our rum in.
Now before we get into the drinking you've all been waiting for, let's get into a couple of quick sugarcane facts.
Primarily because it's the most calorically dense plant in the world. The cane juice has been compared to me as like a Gatorade or a Red Bull that's planted in the ground. The fibers itself, I recently flew over to Molokai and I met someone whose dad was using them as a toothbrush up until he passed away a couple years ago. So they could use that. The cane itself, they would plant around their homes, a little bit of extra protection from the sun, wind, rain. The juice itself had a ton of other purposes. One of those was tattoos. They could use the fresh cane juice, which are cocoon nutshells, to create an ink. They could use it for medicinal purposes. It was used to sweeten bitter tasting medicine. It could also be used to help induce labor.
And now the moment you've been waiting for, which is, of course, to drink.
This cane juice is no alcohol. You can try it on its own. You can pair it with the rums, do whatever you want to do.
Thank you. Ooh, it is sweet.
For our white rums, bottom right corner of both of the bottles in front of you, you're going to see the word Kea. Kea means white. So we named our entire white rum series. Cheers.
Ooh. Ooh, this one's strong. This one's gonna get me. And there's more. Okay, let's try mixing both. Let's see. It's weird. Come back. Yeah. Oh yeah, you definitely feel these ones. That's for sure. Whew. But it's making it fun, right? Thank you. Yeah, there we go. I was wondering why this is so zoomed in. Okay, here we go. Okay, so This is the Coho one. Let's see how this one tastes. Ooh. Ooh. Yeah, this one kind of reminds me of like scotch or like whiskey a little bit. Oh, I like this one. I love scotch, so this is, ooh. All the rums taste drastically different too, so that's kind of interesting for it as well. Okay, Coco Lica, the chocolate one. You can definitely taste the chocolate in there. It smells like it too. Ooh, that one's good. That's my favorite so far.
Try not to finish it. That's my pour for everyone. I'm coming around with some of the barrel-aged tenny to make it air really nicely together.
That's gonna taste good. Oh yeah, the honey with the chocolate one, that's good. Okay, rum cake now. Oh good. Oh, I did a whole cake of that. That's really good.
All right, my friends, keep enjoying. Let me know if you need anything, but thanks for coming out today.
All right, so we finished up the rum tour and it was awesome. We got to try a whole bunch of different types of rum and they were drastically different too. They were also very, very strong. So I'm not gonna lie, I am feeling it. But anyways, that does conclude this video. So thank you all for watching. Like, subscribe, comment down in the comment section. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Ash out.